A student bites into a Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun, gets suspended. Kid hugging another kid. He gets arrested for sexual assault. The 5-year-old in Florida back in 2005 who was throwing a temper tantrum in class. The 9-year-old suspended for sexual harassment for calling his teacher cute. Does these examples sound familiar? It's an example we've been focusing on for 6 years of this broadcast and during our Back to School month. We're talking about zero tolerance policies in our schools, throughout the school discipline. I know you're going to be saying, we've been talking about this for years, so why talk about it on this channel? Basically because of common sense. Here's Fox 5 Atlanta with their own opinion, with some common sense.
Hello class, I'm Professor Graham, and I'm here to discuss the 3 R's of education in 2015. Reading, writing, and overreacting. You've heard the stories. The 7-year-old who bites his Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun and gets suspended. The honor roll middle schooler who's in trouble because she used a butter knife to cut up her lunchtime apple. But what's made zero tolerance policies worse is the increased involvement of the police. A few weeks ago in North Carolina, a 13-year-old boy kissed a classmate on a dare. He was arrested and charged with second-degree sexual assault. Earlier this year in Upson County, Georgia, a 4th grader with developmental issues wrote "bone threat," his attempt at bomb threat, on the school wall. He was arrested for that too. One of the strangest cases was right here in Georgia, when thousands of kids were kept out of school on September 11th over a lone Cougs Facebook post. The post claimed that the Black Panthers were going to invade South Carolina and attack white kids and teachers at school. The post, made by a self-declared general in the United States Confederate Army, was ludicrous on its face. But the Morgan County, Georgia police took it so seriously, they put up their own Facebook warning, and that post panicked so many parents that 1 in 5 Morgan County kids was kept out of school on 9/11. Supporters of zero tolerance policies insist that the world is so dangerous that we have to take every threat, no matter how silly, seriously. Unfortunately, that can sometimes lead to an impossible choice. Either overreact or do nothing. I've got a third way. Let's let police and local officials use their judgment again. Let's press legislators to relieve local schools of zero tolerance policies so that we can rely on common sense. Let's have a statewide ban of zero tolerance policies so police and school officials can use their discretion. See something, say something? Count me in. See something, do something stupid? Sorry, class. I give that an F.
And I give him an A for using common sense. So, common sense alert. By the way, that's the danger alarm, right? I was going to use the Jeopardy Think music for this common sense alert, but this ain't no game show. But what I was going to say is this. Yes, there needs to be common sense. We don't need to be having people like, a Pop-Tart is a Pop-Tart. You chew into a gum. That's just overreacting. That's overreacting, do nothing. Let the police do their job. Let's use common sense. Let's not freaking board on the lines of saying, hey, let's overreact. It's like, oh, it's a gun. It's a Pop-Tart gun. Call the principal. Suspended. You're suspended. PDA in the halls. 911. You're going to jail, buddy. You don't ever, PDA issue is prohibited. Public display of affection is always prohibited in the schools. Just a little bit, I'm going to play for the principal's office a clip from the principal's office about PDA. 2 students were caught hugging and kissing, were caught doing PDA in the hallways. And they got what's called on-campus suspension, which is basically like in-school suspension. But that's not what we're talking about. Let me tell you this. We've gone on with zero tolerance. Every school board has their zero tolerance policy, which says that anything can be used as a weapon is a weapon. Let's look at this. Kehoe Saul It has the word saw in it, and a saw is a weapon. But it can also be used as a tool. A screwdriver is a tool. A screw is a tool, not a weapon. It's like, where do we go wrong? You can't just be freaking banning tools. I mean, let me tell you this. I mean, imagine banning pens and pencils because people use them as weapons. I mean, you wouldn't do that. I mean, you did that. The people in Massachusetts look at you in the face going, "You done screwed up, girl. You should be gone." That's exactly what happened. Come out next, we're going to read you the article, and then we're going to look at more zero tolerance policies, including from the Young Turks, when we did our school month last year about why zero tolerance policies in our schools make zero sense. Stay with us. Every time you turn on the news or go to social media, it seems somewhere there's a story about there's a school news story that seems to get you off the edge of your seat and will make you say, what in God's name were they thinking about doing this sort of thing? It's exactly what happened over almost 13 years ago. 13 years ago, there was a teacher in North Rockford, Massachusetts. Her name is Wendy Scott, and she came up with this ingenious idea to ban pencils and pens in the classroom. Now, when you read this article, you thought, oh, maybe the teachers wanted them to type. So she wants them to type instead of using pencils and pens. Nope. Let's read the memo. Listen to the memo. Students will no longer be allowed to bring writing implements to school. It said pencils will be provided for students in class, and any students caught with pencil pens after November 15th would face disciplinary action for having materials to build weapons. Okay. Common sense alert. Common sense alert. Okay. This is a pencil. Well, pencil is kind of a weapon, so let's ban that. And ooh, a pen is mighty sharp, so let's ban that as well. Can't be doing that crap. Every student needs pencils and pens to write. Now, they may bring their own pencils and pens. I mean, you may sit there and say, oh, it may be more safer and all. But that's not the whole point. If you child came home suspended for bringing pencils and pens written up in the office, you the teacher may get suspended for this. The common sense perspective is this: don't be banning pencils and pens. Period. I mean, a gun is a weapon. A knife is a weapon. A sword is a weapon. A shuriken is a weapon. Pencils and pens are tools that students need to write. Not be suspended over. I mean, this is outrageous. This is a story that deserves common sense. But the Massachusetts School District is rightfully distancing itself away from this rogue teacher, saying she never got permission to enforce this ridiculous demand. People are just too damn silly. I mean, look at all these. I mean, listen to these comments from all these people. You can make a ridiculously powerful weapon out of a mechanical pencil and a rubber band and an eraser and a staple. I remember being able to stick the darts pretty far to a bulletin board when I was in school. I'm sure you could easily break the skin. Eventually, people will finally come to the realization anything can be a weapon if it's used properly, and thus nothing is a weapon. Some say someday. How about this story right here? I remember being proud of my pens and all. After a while, you get idiots who keep asking for pens. You refuse to give them one, they take your pencil case and find one for themselves. If it's nice looking for one, I used to always have the nicest. They just take them away. Once I had a Parker and someone else got it. That was the final straw. So now I take one of each thing, even though it's a rule between two. Instead, I keep about 30 of each stuff in my bag, and I have to go around, in fact. Luckily, they don't know that. It's hilarious to watch them walk away, and me just whispering to my mates, he doesn't know where my bag is. I'd be happy if the teacher supplied me with a pen and pencil. I only buy the cheapest ones. The teacher can't give me anything any cheaper. Besides, free pens equals win. Okay. Metal rulers are one of the most deadly objects in the classrooms. I mean, what about compasses? You can really kill somebody with those. I mean, the paper cutters. You can lose a finger like that. And what about those pop quizzes? They just sprint you on them like that. You're not expecting them like that. It's common sense. I mean, that one teacher did not use common sense. She just basically said, I'm not going to allow people to bring pencils and pens, so therefore I'm going to bring my own, and then they can use it. So what needs to go on here? Don't be banning stuff. You may have a policy on knives and guns, but never on pencils and pens. Never about that. If you do so, the school district may distance themselves, but if you do so, watch out. You may get attacked on social media. When I was in second grade, I bought a sword, a toy sword. I mean, what's gonna be next? I mean, a toy knife. It's a piece of plastic. I mean, plastic, as in plastic wrap. Plastic doesn't hurt you. Toys are made out of plastic, and sometimes plastic can be sharp. Plastic doesn't hurt you. I mean, guns are sometimes made out of plastic. That's why they're called guns. Plastic doesn't hurt you. Metal glass can hurt you if it's sharp enough. That's why guns and swords are banned in class. That way it won't happen. So, there's your lesson about the difference between weapons and tools with a common sense perspective. Stay with us now for more Give Me a Break, including the Young Turks and Eddie Fox investigates the Virginia School District's zero tolerance policies. That when we return. Stay with us.
Gods have spoken.
I want to just say that's the first time in 6 years I ever went to break while the commercial was playing. That's the first time ever, and it won't happen again. We're looking at zero tolerance policies that make zero sense with some common sense. With all these zero tolerances, schools overreact. And for this, we're raising some common sense. This was the inspiration for the Common Sense Alert. So what else can we do these zero tolerances? Well, in Virginia, you've had a lot of cases. We've had a person that shooting an airsoft gun close to the, got smacked for shooting an airsoft gun when I was close to the bus station. There was a kid who was suspended for taking the razor blade out, for killing himself. It's like, what the hell? And then you also have a kid who was suspended, a student was suspended for giving a teacher a compliment, sexual harassment. I mean, she called it sexual harassment. I wouldn't even say you're beautiful. Would that be sexual harassment? No, it'd be a compliment. You're brightening her day. That's how it is. So could there be common sense? Here's Andy Clark.
Tom and Nicole, these are three high-profile cases that have brought unwanted attention to Virginia Beach schools. The superintendent says their discipline policy is not and cannot be characterized as a zero-tolerance policy. There are plenty of people who think she's wrong. It took 30 seconds with Virginia Beach City Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Sheila Magula for her to say this.
You understand Virginia Beach does not have a zero tolerance policy.
No zero tolerance policy, and another 5 minutes to say it again.
We do not, as a school division, have a zero tolerance policy.
No zero tolerance? That's news to attorney Kevin Martingale, who represents students before the school board for disciplinary incidents.
I don't see how. I mean, the language here says mandatory expulsion.
Virginia Beach may not call it zero tolerance, but in its own code of student conduct and the school board's published regulations, there are several offenses calling for mandatory expulsion where the students automatically recommended by the principal to the superintendent for expulsion.
Yes.
In March, we reported on Adriana Harris, who was suspended with a recommendation for expulsion for possessing a razor blade on school property.
He lifted up his sleeve and showed me his bloody cuts.
Adriana held the razor for split seconds before throwing it away in a trash can. After taking it from a fellow classmate who was cutting his arm, she may have saved his life. She reported the incident the next day, and that's when she got suspended. Adriana's mother, Rachel Harris, complained to the principal.
She says the policy is out of her hands.
We asked school board chairman Dan Edwards about Adriana's expulsion case.
The policy did not absolutely require the actions that were taken.
But that was the interpretation of the policy by the school principal.
Everything they told me was policy, policy, policy.
The interpretation by the principal in terms of the facts of the case drove that and not a mandatory requirement.
Our investigation into Edwards' own school board policy found it is mandatory. Under mandatory expulsion number 3, possession of a dangerous weapon. The razor was considered by the school administration to be a dangerous weapon.
The principal has a range of options, and that's how our discipline guidelines are set up.
But those options in mandatory expulsion come after the suspension, not before. In the end, and after our reporting, Adriana was immediately readmitted to the school and the incident stricken from her record. But look what she had to go through. Martingale says it is cruel to the student to suspend first and ask questions later.
It puts everybody on pins and needles wondering, am I the next person who's going to be the victim of a set of rules that are not being enforced in an intelligent way?
An interesting development. Virginia Beach school discipline policies are now under review.
The board will have an opportunity to hear recommendations from the administration, whether or not we should either adjust or clarify anything in those policies.
Well, that is movement towards removing the embarrassment factor from some discipline cases. Discuss before you suspend. Dr. Magula wanted to point out that there are 86 schools and nearly 70,000 students in the Virginia Beach school system. She says, quote, the principals do an excellent job navigating discipline cases, but there is always the possibility of human error. Tomorrow night at 6, I'll report on a school system that has given up on zero tolerance. They got burned by zero tolerance, and they won't do it again. I'm Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
So now we're raising some common sense. And let me tell you, just last night, I spoke to a Walmart employee when I was doing my shopping cart duty. I was making sure, by the way, that's going to be our investigation into why shopping carts, we got that for season 7. Basically, I asked him if he told me that Walmart threatened to fire me if he continued to do it. I mean, What's the whole point? I mean, they should be able to thank you, not tell you, hey, if you do this again, you're fired. I mean, what does Walmart have, a freaking zero tolerance policy for shopping carts? That's bullshit. I'll tell you more about it in season 7. Okay. Zero tolerance policies are basically like school to prison pipelines. I mean, it's like this. So it's like this. I mean, we showed you this one from Young Turks last season. But things have got to change when it comes to zero tolerances. We can't just sit there and just overreact and go, oh, it's a gun. It's a Pop-Tart, for crying out loud. He shot at the school bus at this bus stop. For crying out loud. We're overreacting. We need to say something and do something. Not overreact. If we overreact, there's going to be issues and hell to pay. That is common sense perspective that needs to be looked at with a freaking scalpel here. You shouldn't be overreacting. You need to do something about this and say to yourself, well, we've overreacted. We need to look at this. We can't just expel them. We got to come up with suggestions. I mean, schools can be sued for this, and a lot of times, the schools may be on their, parents may side with the school, and the parents may side with the students. And the parents side with the schools, and the schools may side with parents, and sometimes the parents will be siding with the schools. I mean, the 9-year-old in North Carolina, he was suspended for sexual harassment for calling a teacher cute. I am so sorry about that. That is not sexual harassment. That is giving her a compliment. You're complimenting. You're making her day. If I were to sit there and say, hey, you look nice today, she wouldn't be giving me a freaking office referral for telling her how nice she is. That's dumb. Even the worst thing ever, I have no tolerance for vandalism and graffiti in our schools. I told you this 6 years ago, and now I'm telling you again this year on this channel right here, because really, it's something I have no tolerance for. No tolerance for, and will never have tolerance for. When we come back, we're going to hear from the Young Turks. They had their own interpretation about zero tolerance policies. Stay with us. You know, it's the first time in this broadcast we're looking at zero tolerance policies, but with common sense. When we talked about this last year, we focused in without common sense. But it's the inspiration for a common sense alert, which was the danger element used. So tonight we're looking at zero tolerance policy, but giving them with a common sense perspective, and why schools overreact. Because basically, when you look at zero tolerance policies in your schools, it's basically a school to prison pipeline. And let me tell you, we know that there are some bad things going on in our schools: gangs, drugs, bullying. You have to make sure those kids get pulled out of those situations. There's all these fights on YouTube about in the classroom. Case in point, what happened back in 2012. The Texas girls, they were in the news for getting spanked. It's all legal in schools in 19 states. In 2005, the 5-year-old girl was arrested for throwing a tantrum in preschool. The combination of conflict kids in the classroom is being ridiculous. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. If you try to make it up, you try to suggest something different, they look at you in the face going, that's not a good idea. Here's the Young Turks with their interpretation about zero tolerances, with common sense.
basically took Zachary Christie's story. He's a 6-year-old from Delaware. He basically took a pocket knife to school. It's a utensil, camping utensil that could be used as a knife, a fork, and a spoon. Okay, so he took this utensil to school, and when school officials saw it, they decided to take action against him. Okay, they have, of course, schools have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to weapons, especially after all the school shootings and everything. So because of this, he now faces 45 days in the district's reform school.
Reform school? I don't know what that's like, but it doesn't sound good. Oh, well, look at this guy. No wonder he totally deserves it. This guy looks like a thug, straight up, okay? I mean, this guy's gonna cut everybody up in that school.
Look, here's the thing, okay? I don't agree with the zero tolerance policy. I think it's ridiculous, right? You have to have some judgment on a case-by-case basis, okay?
Yes.
That being said, you can't bring a knife to school. I mean, I don't think that he should spend 45 days in a reform school. I don't think he should spend any time in a reform school. But there definitely needs to be some consequences so the 6-year-old understands that it's not okay to bring a knife to school. Even if he does it, even if he brings it without the intention of hurting someone else, he can accidentally hurt someone else. Or someone else can accidentally use that and hurt other students. So, yeah, he needs to know that it's wrong. The problem that I have with this story is, his mother and everybody is saying, oh, you know, this kid did nothing wrong. It's all about, you know, these school policies are wrong. So this little 6-year-old boy is walking around thinking, yeah, bringing knives to school is okay. It's not me that did something wrong. It's the stupid school with their stupid policies that are doing something wrong.
Here comes the hanging judge again. That's unbelievable. All right, now look, other parts of the story are that a girl whose grandmother sent in a birthday cake, sent it in with a knife to cut the cake. Then this is my favorite part of the story. They cut the cake and eat it, and afterwards the teacher tells the principal, and then they suspend the student.
Yeah, and that see,
No, you don't get to eat your cake and have it too. Okay,
right.
That's not right.
And that particular story, I 100% disagree with. And like I said...
But it's zero tolerance. Zero tolerance is zero tolerance.
I said in the beginning that I don't agree with the zero tolerance policy. However, students need to be aware that they shouldn't be allowed to bring guns as well, but knives
yes, that I agree with.
or any type of weapon to school.
But you see, that's an excellent point right there, because with a gun, it's fairly unambiguous. Like if you bring a gun to school, it's not like you were going to cut the cake with the gun. Right? Well, I was going to shoot it a couple of times and stuff. And I thought this was a cool thing I found in Boy Scouts. No guns. Right? That's obvious. But there's 100 different things that a knife could be used for, like cutting food. Right? So that's where the problem comes in. And the problem comes in when they get expansive. We did another story where they say no weapons, and they suspended a girl who had a Tweety chain. They're like, hey, it's a chain, chain's a weapon, you're gone.
I know, and that's usually what happens when the country experiences some sort of crisis, right? All these school shootings happen, and of course the response is to over-exaggerate.
Look, let's get reasonable here. First of all, zero tolerance has a good and a bad reason behind it, okay? The good reason behind it is when they let people use judgment, they usually screw it up. And what they realized is that it gets applied, the policy against bringing quote-unquote weapons to school gets applied to minority students at disproportionate rates than white students. But it's not a little disproportionate, it's grossly disproportionate. Like in some cases, 2 to 3 times as much applied to minority students. Then you go, oh, okay, yeah, I see what the problem is, right? But the bad side of doing zero tolerance is you can't remove human judgment from things. And if you do, it's partly being lazy. It's taking a shortcut. Instead of fixing the problem, and even if it's discrimination, then the problem is discrimination. And how you apply it, you should recognize it, and that's actually probably just only one indication of a larger problem you have. And address that problem. Burying it and then, and going over it just by calling zero tolerance, all right, then we won't use our mind at all, and we'll just ban everybody. Oh, that pen is kind of sharp. That's a weapon. You're all suspended. I mean, this can get ridiculous. No, that's why we have the capacity for judgment, and we should have administrators who can, put that into effect. So for this kid, look, obviously he shouldn't have brought it in. He got overzealous. but it's not a real knife. I mean, it's part of this camping thing, and we understand what the story is. Okay, teach him a lesson. You know what? You're suspended for it. You know what?
No, not even
2
that.
days.
Not even that. I
Okay,
don't think the kid should even get suspended, because you get suspended. I mean, he's a 6-year-old, so it doesn't matter. But
It doesn't matter at all.
suspension
That
is
sends
still,
the message perfectly fine.
I don't think suspension is a good disciplinary action, because you don't want to send kids out of school. You want them to get an education. Give them detention after school. You know,
Look, if you said to me as a kid, what do you want? 2 days of suspension or 45 days of reform school? I'm like, suspension.
No. I understand
Okay.
that. I understand
And that's
that.
part of the problem you're saying.
Yes, that is part of the problem. So instead, after class is over, he should spend more time in school in detention, and that's something that he's going to hate, but it works well in 2 different ways. I mean,
All right, you know what? We're going to have a deal here. We're going to work this out. A week of detention.
yeah, I think that's great.
Okay,
Because,
deal?
deal.
Okay. 45 days in reform school. God knows what's going to happen. I don't know how bad the reform school is, but it doesn't sound pleasant. Okay? So,
Maybe I missed something. What happened to conversation and understanding? Oh, so little Johnny. I don't know why that's always the name.
in this case, it's Zachary.
Yeah,
Little Zachary.
Little shit. You got a knife on this pocket thing that you brought in because you're trying to show off because you're happy about Boy Scouts. You can't bring that to school. You know this will hurt somebody. Take it home, don't bring it back anymore. Isn't that in the discussion? I don't understand the detention, the suspension, or any of that stuff. Because I feel like detention should be for people who consciously are out to cause harm at school, and then they're going to learn their lesson and go, damn, I'm going to think twice before I do that messed up thing again, because then I'm going to get detention. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't going, I'm going to fuck somebody up.
Is he Zachary? He's 6. Anyway, no, I hear you, JR. But and that goes to the problem with these zero tolerance policies, which is that it's usually because people are lazy and scared, okay? And because if they don't take drastic action and then later something happens in that school, then they're going to get fired. And they don't want to get fired. That's 90% of the reason why anybody does anything at any job. They don't want to get fired. And that's why they have these. And that's why I don't like zero tolerance policies. In fact, I'm declaring right now, I have zero tolerance for zero tolerance policies. Think about it.
And that is something to think about. I mean, school to prison pipelines, we can't be having that stuff. I mean, schools may have policies about PDAs. I'm going to play you a clip from the principal's office about PDA. Two kids were there was these 2 kids. They were messing around in the hallways, like doing handshakes and all. And when they got out of hand, they considered PDA. Take a look.
See. Point High School, we do not allow any public displays of affection outside of holding hands. Anything else is unacceptable. Come on in, guys. Shut the door. Today I got a report that 2 couples are continuing to break this rule in spite of my announcement. Did y'all hear my announcement the other day on the intercom about PDA?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
PDA stands for Public Disorder Affection Display, whatever, same thing.
Explain to me why I'm getting reports that you have been seen numerous times in PDA situations that you shouldn't be.
I just want to ask why we're in here together. I mean, it's not like we're PDAing together.
And I understand that. You're in here because I don't want to chew my cabbage twice. We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I've never done any action or PDA with Chris in my life.
It's been reported to me that they've seen you in the stairwell down here on this end. They've seen you up behind the curtain out here in the cafeteria. They've just seen you at the doorway in the hall.
But, sir, I'm just trying to get it cleared up that me and Chris aren't having any contact or making out. And
what you do outside of here doesn't matter to me. My job is to enforce the rules up here. And Chris and Kevin, you're not going to do anything beyond holding hands because we're not going to allow anybody else to do it. You guys have a nice handshake y'all do with the buddies when y'all see each other for morning, hadn't seen each other?
Yes, sir.
Let me see. What's kind of there you go. No, don't do that with the girls. Absolutely don't do that with the girls. Anything other than that's shake hands right there. That's what you can do. Anything outside of that, be considered PDA.
So we have to walk up to our girlfriends and go like, hey, babe, how are you?
Absolutely. There you go, like that. There you go. You're good to go.
What if my girlfriend's having a bad day or she's uptight and I just come behind her and give her a massage just on her neck, not touching her anywhere else, just giving her a nice massage on the back of her neck?
Listen very carefully. Is that more than holding hands?
Not to me.
No.
Not to me.
If you do more than holding hands, and you're committing PDA.
All right, so what you're saying, Coach, is like, even if my girlfriend's like having a bad day at school, like I can't try to lift her spirits and give her a hug or a kiss.
It made your girlfriend happy when you hugged her, right? Okay. It's going to make me a whole lot happier if you don't. And guess which one from 7:50 to 3:31 you really need to concentrate on making happy?
Her?
Oh, absolutely not. Take another guess.
The librarian?
No, absolutely not. I'm going to give you one last guess and make it a real good guess.
Is it you?
Absolutely.
We can't compromise?
Nope. No compromise. Y'all else in other words, listen to me. Debate's over. It's not a debate. Never was a debate. Don't do it. Do it again, you're in trouble.
So you're trying to tell us we don't have any rights here?
You got rights.
This is
you
not
got
like
rights,
prison.
but you do not have the right to break the rules. Being in prison, no, bud, I can tell you, if you ever go to prison, you'll find out it's a whole lot different than prison. This is the first time you've been in here for this, so we're going to cover all of it with 1 day of on-campus suspension, and I don't want to see it again. Don't want to see you back in here.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Sir.
In the future, I expect Chris and Kevin to observe the rules and not have PDA in the halls.
All we're doing is kissing and hugging, that's it. It's not nothing big.
It's not like we're making our girlfriends get naked around school and all that. It's just a hug and a kiss.
It may be just a hug and a kiss, but it's just basically, it's their rule. I mean, you can't just be sitting there saying like, oh, well, so-and-so this and this. All right, now that we focus in on zero tolerance policies, which we've already talked about with common sense, coming up, school discipline. Basically, from these clips from the principal's office. Stay tuned. Now that we're focusing on zero tolerance policies, let's focus more on school discipline. There is a difference between zero tolerances. Zero tolerance is just basically schools that don't have common sense and to think like, oh, a pen is a weapon, a pencil is a weapon, a razor blade is a weapon. That's school districts going too far. But regular student discipline, it's just basically like talking back to a teacher, mouthing off to a teacher, being disrespectful, insubordination, dress code violations, all of that. So we're going to try to focus in on most of these, but with a common sense perspective. Take a look.
Hand over the phone. I'm tired of telling you guys, this is to be off, put away, out of sight.
My style of discipline is black and white. If they've done the crime, they're going to do the time.
Insubordination is not taken very lightly at Lemon Bay. If you disrespect a teacher, Mr. Rett gets pretty pissed.
I'm a tough administrator, and when a kid comes in for the same offense over and over and over, I have no tolerance.
What's up, dog?
What did you say?
What's up, dog?
No. You know better than that. How do you properly address someone?
Sorry, Mr. Rett.
Okay. Anthony's been disrespectful to his substitute teacher. You seem to be on a regular basis in my office. Just this month, we have a series of disrespect, skipping class, insubordination.
What's insubordination? I don't know what that means.
What do you think it means, Anthony?
I have no idea. Someone's submarine?
As many times as Anthony's been in the office, it comes to me as a shock that he doesn't know what insubordination means. You're not following instructions. You're not following directives.
Your teacher sent you down on a referral because you were rude?
It wasn't a teacher, though. It was just a substitute.
Excuse me?
I mean, it's not like it's my real teacher. Subs don't know what's going on. They're not even real teachers. They just sit there and do nothing. She's not even teaching the class. She doesn't even know what she's doing.
She does qualify to be a teacher.
Yeah, well, she's not teaching. She's just like chilling behind her desk.
Anthony, this is your 5th referral and have not been successful with our standard methods of discipline. Tried detentions, tried student conferences. Your mom has me on speed dial. With this one, it's going to be a 1-day suspension.
No.
It'll be Friday.
On Friday? I can't do Friday. I got a qualifier for Nationwide Tour. I'm a very big golfer, and on Friday, I have a qualifier for the Nationwide Tour. And I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to go. That's not fair, because it's like, this is my big shot to actually, like, do something and, like, do what I want to do in life.
I don't have a choice here. You've backed yourself into a corner.
The tour's not going to look at that, though.
This is not about the tour. This is about respect. You need to show respect. Period. I'll see you after your suspensions.
I'm pretty pissed off because I got suspended and now I can't go to the Nationwide Tour. So it's pretty upsetting. Thanks for nothing.
Anthony needs to learn to respect his elders, and to get that respect back, he's going to have to give it first.
To get the respect back, you gotta earn it. I mean, there is an old saying that, there's an old saying, if you want respect, you get respect. Alright, here's the second one. This student decides to push a desk and act defiance. He gets 3 days out of school. He gets 3 days out of school suspension for being rude and belligerent. We're telling that teacher to calm down.
Kids today think they're so smart, but I'm smart. If they do something wrong, I'm going to find out about it. Vinny, what's the problem in Mr. Grimm's class? This is what he says. I asked student to sit in his seat and get on task.
I was on task.
He pushed his desk in an act of defiance.
I wouldn't say I didn't think I pushed it. Well, actually, I think I just...
So it just moved?
I just pushed it hard enough to make it go over to its intention spot.
Why'd you do it?
It's because he told me to get up and move. And then he goes in this big rant. You want to throw furniture? You want to throw furniture? And I was like, I don't think you should do that. No, we don't need that. Calm down.
You told the teacher to calm down.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have freaked out, none of this would have happened. I think he should have done is just take a page out of our book. Just had to be nice and calm about it, because he obviously wasn't going to win the battle, and he may have won the battle, actually, but I won the war.
Vinny, you're wrong. For being rude and belligerent to your teacher, you're going to get 3 days out of school suspension.
Wow. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. 3 day suspension?
Yes. 3 days suspension.
3 day suspension. I'm very pissed off about that. My mom is going to be very mad when she hears about that. I'm sure I'll be grounded for at least a day, if not a little more.
If not more. I don't know why I'm pressing this. Sorry about that, folks. How about getting in trouble for just basically hanging out outside of school?
Hey, Coach Liam.
Yes.
Every morning, I've been noticing there's a group of kids that's been hanging out before school right out there.
At West Point High School, students are not allowed to hang out in the parking lot after they arrive at school. Once they arrive on school property, they need to park their vehicle and then come in the building. Hey, guys, boys, girls, what are y'all doing out here?
Just hanging out. We were just sitting out there this morning, just if it snow's being tough, just hanging out, so,
What do you think, we're having a football game here or something?
We ain't got a football.
Our policy and rule says that when you pull on the school property, that you leave your vehicle and go immediately into the cafeteria, okay? We've actually had people sitting in their cars, doing maybe some drugs and things of that nature, and making out and all that kind of stuff, okay?
There's not going to be no drugs.
Oh, I understand that. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying it's been our experience. That's why that rule is in place. Any questions on that?
Coach Lamb, I'm a good old boy.
Absolutely.
I'll try my best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We don't do drugs.
Absolutely.
We're not going to do drug deals.
Absolutely.
This kid right here, I've known him my whole life.
Absolutely.
He's a good kid. He doesn't do drugs. This right here, this is Derek. He doesn't do anything.
I know Derek. I know every one of you. Now, what's your point, Kenny?
Why can we not stay out here? It couldn't be some kind of a privilege.
Absolutely not. Okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. Everybody go in the office and sign up for detention, and if you miss that detention, then we'll put you on campus suspension.
I ain't going.
Well, Tanner, you know what? Y'all don't have to go, but make no mistake about this. If you don't go, I'm going to get neck deep in your collar, and you ain't going to like what's fixing to happen. You understand that?
Well, when Coach Lamb gets mad, he looks like a strawberry. I mean, he looks cherry red. I mean, man.
And if you don't go there, then I got a place where you go that you definitely ain't going to like. You understand that? You understand that? You understand that? Don't shake your head at me. Say yes or no, sir. I understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, guys. Y'all know what to do. Get in there and sign up for your detention. Let's go. Hurry up. Let's go.
He looks like an old gobbler of big turkey's neck during hunting season. They get all mad and bowed up and stuff and get in your face. I think it's kind of funny. I was kind of laughing
I'll
at
tell you what, though, man, I'd hate to be in a fight with him. That's all I can say. He's stout. The big boy's stout.
Basically, through a common sense perspective, if a teacher has a rule, if a school has rules saying you're not allowed to hang out outside of school, then follow the rule. If you feel like you don't want to hang out in the school, then just arrive late. Get detention. Do whatever you want. But when you have detention, you sit in there for like an hour or two, and you sit there and not talk. I mean, I never got detention. I mean, I know what detention is like. You sit in a room and do nothing but stare at the wall. Like this. You put your head down. That's another day of detention. That's another day of detention. That's another day. You talk to anybody, do something, that's another 10 minutes. You can't do nothing. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You can't speak. It's like 3 to 7s. That's on a whole different video. Here's another one. A holy man. Well, he basically violated the school's dress code from Willows Point High. Take a look.
Come here, Chris. Come over here and just let me take a look at you. All right, now, Chris. So how many holes do you think you got in those jeans?
I don't know.
Well, let me count them for you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6.5 or 7 right down here. You don't even have enough denim there left on those pants to make a good full pair of shorts. So much denim is missing. If I wanted to, I'd give you detention for each one of those holes. You know that?
Yeah.
Have a seat. Have a seat. We have a very strict dress code because we're trying to teach them that when you leave us, you're going to have to look your best when you go apply for jobs and apply for college. One of the rules of this school district says that I am to enforce the dress code that is set forth.
Coach, but it's just a style. These jeans, they pretty much make you cool. Wherever you wear holy jeans, you kind of feel cool.
Certainly, me wearing holy jeans wouldn't make me cool at all. It would be somewhat pretty disgusting. But the point being is, if you're truly cool, you're going to be cool in pants that don't have holes in them. But what's more important to you, Chris, to learn or to look cool?
Apparently to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good answer. That's the correct answer I was looking for. Now, do you have anybody at home that can bring you any other pants?
Actually, my parents are at work, and I don't think I can get them a pair.
You're going to have to go down to the on-campus suspension room because you can't go to class out of dress code. But
what do you want me to do to fix my pants?
Well, I do have a solution for you. It's very unorthodox, but I got a solution for you.
And what are you going to do?
Well, come with me.
All right.
Chris made a wise choice, and he will not wind up in my on-campus suspension room. We taped them and we stapled them, and that's a good choice for him. We'll put him back in class, and he will be assigned a lunch detention for coming to school out of dress code.
In the future, I will never, ever staple or tape my pants again. I mean, just look at these. Stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Stupidest thing I've ever seen. Wow. How about this student right here, who violates every single dress code in the handbook? Like we talked about, the reason why schools have dress code policies is to teach kids that when you leave school, you're going to have to look your best when you go apply for jobs and apply for college. Take a look.
I walk around in the halls, making sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing and following the rules. Austin, come here. We have a very strict dress code policy, and right now Austin is not breaking one, but he's breaking several of our dress code policies. What are you doing, and where do you think you're going dressed like that? Class. Oh no, you're not going to class dressed like that. Do you know how far out of dress code you are right here? Do you have any idea how many things are wrong here? First, you cannot wear an anarchy shirt. Secondly, you cannot have these on chains. Thirdly, you cannot have over a 12-inch hem on the bottom of your pants. This is not at all appropriate for a public school.
It's the U.S. We're supposed to be independent. It's supposed to be a free country.
You want to express yourself at home.
It's my own body. I'm a human being. I have an independence. I was diagnosed with ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder. It's basically where you're born with the instinct to defy authority.
Now let's talk about your change here just a minute, okay? Let me see that change just a minute. Can you take that off? You're going to anyway, so. Okay, let me show you why we have it in our handbook that you cannot wear chains. Set of keys, I'll show you something. Got a set of keys on there. You want me to hit you in the head with that?
No,
absolutely not. That's why these are not allowed.
Sir, I'm a mild-mannered teenager. I wouldn't hurt anyone. Even in science class, I don't even like dissecting animals. 'Cause, I mean, they may be dead, they may be giving their bodies to science, but it's just cruelty. I wouldn't hurt anything. I wouldn't hurt a cat, a dog, a mouse, a rabbit, a bird, depending on what bird and if I'm hungry or not.
While we've been standing here talking, Austin, you're talking about what you got in your mouth? Wow. You know that's not allowed. Those are way out of the dress codes. You need to take those out.
Like, can I just keep them in my mouth? That's where I keep them normally during the day.
Absolutely not. You hit your head or mouth against something and we got blood and torn lips and problems all over the place. Don't give them to me. I don't want them. Hang on to them. We'll take you in the office and let you put them on my desk in a napkin or something. But I don't want to touch them. I'm not going to touch them. So don't ever wear those up here. You know better than that. You've broken every rule conceivable in the dress code. And yes, you're going to my own campus suspension room for 3 days.
I knew I was breaking some of the codes, but I hadn't read the book this year, so yeah.
Yeah. We all get the picture here. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, can you ever imagine getting Saturday detention, but you forgot to go because you overslept? This student did, and decided, you know what? Oh shoot, I slept till 1 o'clock. I forgot I had Saturday detention. Take a look.
Pulling down a student who missed Saturday detention this weekend, and I want to see why. Brittany, come on in.
I didn't wake up. I slept all Saturday till 1 o'clock, and like no one woke me up in my house.
Brittany, we missed Saturday detention, and I hope we've got a very good reason.
It's not really a very good reason, but I kind of forgot and slept through Saturday, like all day.
Forgot. That's your excuse. We forgot.
When I went to sleep on Friday, I didn't put my alarm on, and then I woke up at 1, and I completely forgot.
Why did we get this Saturday anyway?
I apparently cut my second period class.
No, not apparently.
I didn't cut. I went, and then she wasn't there. I left, and I came back at the end of the period.
So you weren't accounted for. Okay? I went, and she wasn't there, so I left. It doesn't make it okay. So that's a cut. And being a senior is not an excuse. I'm not happy with you. I get very ticked off when students I like don't show the respect to do the things that they have to do. We cut you a break this year already for attendance. You exceeded the 15 absences, but we didn't take credit away, and we did the right thing and made an exception. But we don't have to make that exception. The policy says 15, right? But we didn't lose credit, right?
Yeah.
What if I forget that we had that meeting?
That would be bad.
Do we graduate?
No.
Are we doing senior week?
Yeah.
What if I forgot to let you do senior week? No attendance, we don't graduate, we're not a senior. We don't do senior week. We're not gonna forget we have prom Friday, right?
No.
No. But we forgot all those things when we forgot Saturday detention. But we've shown you a lot of consideration, and I expect a little of that consideration in return. And part of that is marking the calendar so we don't forget. So we're planning on going prom on Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, by 8:30, we'll be in the cafeteria. I don't care where we're going afterwards. I don't care what time you're getting home.
I don't want to be here on Saturday. I should be down at the seaside with all of my friends, but it's not gonna happen.
Well, I like you, and I don't like to have to do this to kids I like. I expect better of you. So we will be there Saturday, because otherwise, we're not gonna go on senior week. I don't know why I'm even giving you this chance. Okay. Brittany, I want you to have a good time at the prom, but you better not stay out too late, because Saturday detention starts pretty early.
Damn right. Alright, next time on our back to school week, on our back to school month, we're focusing on cigarettes in our schools, why you shouldn't smoke, from this person right here. You know what? We have time for one more, and then we're going to wrap it up here. This student decides to smoke, and the school has a decision. Watch.
It is annoying when I have to leave my office to go get a student who is reluctant to come to my office. Yesterday, 8th period, I went looking for you. You weren't in class. You got to come in my office. We got to get this straight right now. All right, let's go. All right.
Miss Burns just busted me out of nowhere and put me into the office because of some stupid that happened.
Have a seat. Mr. Strever caught you smoking. Lucas, why do you smoke at school? What's the problem? You're addicted? What?
Yeah, I'm kind of addicted.
Well, what do you mean?
Wake up in the morning, need a cigarette.
You see, that's from smoking. That's what smoking does to you. I'm just gonna wait till you get done. His coughing really concerned me. It was very deep, throaty cough. It was making me sick. Lucas, are you concerned about your health with that smoker's cough? Does that bother you?
Yeah.
Do you worry about it?
I've been trying to work out at the YMCA lately every day.
You will not be able to breathe and keep up if you're going to be smoking. You can't even stop coughing. I bet you can't stop coughing. There it is. That's smoking. Do you have any cigarettes on you now?
Yeah, Miss Bellinger.
Right here.
No, Miss Bellinger, I'm addicted to them. I promise I was going to school, but...
Yeah, right. Give me. You got busted.
I'm just going to take that one out.
I don't think so. Put it back.
Alright, it's all good.
Give me. These are menthol cigarettes. They're the worst
Cut to the end.
Who will talk with you, and there's a program to quit smoking. If you agree to go to the program at the school-based health center, I'll go lightly on the discipline.
I promise.
Promise what?
That I'm gonna go to the schoolmates health center.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right.
Then I can go lightly. So I'm gonna start with your 1 day in school suspension. You know, for getting caught smoking is 2 days.
Yeah.
You bring that paperwork in to me tomorrow, you'll be good to go.
All right.
All right, that's going to be it for right now. Join all of us at YouTube next time for another edition of Give Me a Break. Have a good night.